So next week is going to be the release of Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 in theaters. Or maybe it's already out as you're watching this. And next week on the channel, the majority of the content will be based around Star Wars and May the 4th be with you. So I thought I would bring this video today here on the channel, which is a top 5 list of Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 Funko Pops. So let's get right to it. So coming in at number 5 on this list, it is the Funko Shop exclusive Flocked Baby Rocket. Now this pop doesn't look too bad. I mean, it's got the same molding as a lot of the baby pops that they have made nowadays, especially the Notorious B.I.G. Pop Albums Baby. And it's pretty decent to see this considering that we know in the movie that Rocket is in his normal, like, adult form. So I'm gonna assume, and I don't remember if they even showed it off in the trailers, that this is gonna be some sort of flashback moment in the movie where he reflects to his childhood self. So it's pretty decent that we get some sort of little sneak peek in the movie when it comes to this Funko Pop set. And I mean, you can't go wrong with flocking. If you were to choose between the regular version and the flocked version, the flocked version I find is always better, especially because it is an animal, of course, so the flocking effect definitely makes sense, and it takes away from the fact that with the normal one of this one and the other Rocket Raccoon Pops, that basically he looks very dehydrated in the head sculpt. Somebody give this man an iced tea or something. But overall, I know that a lot of people do enjoy this Funko Pop, so I thought I would add it as a part of this top 5 list. So coming in at number 4 on this list is the Adam Warlock as a part of the common set. This pop looks really cool, and I remember seeing the trailer and seeing Adam Warlock. I can't remember the actor's name that plays as him, but I have seen him in a few movies. This pop looks pretty decent. I like the head mold and especially the different shading of gold that they use to actually show off the strands of the hair. You have the little logo, or not logo, but the little indent on his head there. You got the red and kind of beigey outfit there also, and it looks pretty decent. I like seeing Funko Pops for characters that haven't really gotten a lot of Funko Pops. I know there was a comic version of Adam Warlock made into Funko Pop form, but now that Adam Warlock is in the MCU, we do get an MCU version of the character now in Funko Pop form, which is pretty decent. But I do think the reason that this pop is kind of low on this list and not maybe higher up on the list is how very simplistic the posing is as terms to this pop. It's just kind of like a very old posing where it's just arms to the side like we're back in like 2012, 2013, instead of a cool posing that a lot of Funko Pops have nowadays. Coming in at number 3 on my list is the Funko Shop exclusive Groot with wings. Now this pop looked really cool when it was first announced. I don't think it was actually announced with the initial Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 wave at Funko Fair. It was announced later on, but it's a really cool molding compared to a lot of Groot Pops, especially the Groot Pops in this set, where basically he's on a stand and he's flying with wings, which kind of gives you a thought of like, does Groot die in this movie? But at the same time, didn't Groot die in one of the previous movies, hence why he became Baby Groot and then eventually Teenage Groot back to normal Groot? I'm pretty sure that happens. So I think death wouldn't really be the reason of why he has wings, but I mean, he is a tree after all, so I think he can just transform himself into pretty much anything. So I guess it makes sense here that he does have wings. It is a different molding of Groot here, so I do like that about that, and I like the character of Groot. So I thought, at least with my personal reaction towards Groot and how it is detailed but a little bit simplistic at the same time, that I would put this at the very middle of my list. Coming in at number 2 on my list, it is the Hot Topic exclusive Flocked Cosmo. This pop is really cool. A lot of people do enjoy this. This is kind of at the moment, even though I don't think it will be later on down the line, it's a little bit of a sought after pop at the moment because a lot of people are trying to get to their Hot Topics to get this, and it's always selling out. And I mean, I don't blame people because, like I mentioned with the Baby Rocket pop at the number 5 spot, that if you're gonna get an animal pop and there is the selection of a flocked specification, it makes sense to get the flocked version over the vinyl plastic common version because animals make sense being flocked. So having the Cosmo here as a flocked figure is really, really cool. I haven't seen this pop in person yet, so I don't know how much of a difference the color looks as terms to his fur when you put the flocking effect, but I bet it does look much nicer than what the common one looks like. Having Cosmo in the MCU is pretty cool. I believe you do see him near the end of the Christmas special that they did. I don't remember if he actually appeared in Volume 2, but I knew it was that Christmas special, and to have him basically what seems to be some sort of focal point in Volume 3 is going to be very interesting to see, and I mean, you can't go wrong with the way that that face looks. He looks very adorable. But before we make it to my number 1 pick of my favorite Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 pop, I'm going to mention 3 honorable mentions for this top 5 list. So the first honorable mention I have is the common Drax pop. You can't go wrong with Drax. Drax is a very funny character. He did have a lot of comedic moments in the first movie. I felt like they kind of overdid his comedic aspect in the second movie, but I'm sure that especially because Dave Bautista has confirmed that this will be his last Marvel movie that he does, that I think Drax will have some cool moments to end off his run in the MCU. But with this Funko Pop though, I felt that this was a very simplistic molding. Like I mentioned with, I think it was Adam Warlock, and how you're basically having the old 2012, 2013 molding of the arms to the side, when Drax can easily have some cool poses, especially with some of the weapons that he holds. So I don't know why they just decided him with the arms to the side and very plain and boring. That's why it's an honorable mention and not a part of the top 5, although if it had a cool posing, it probably would have made it at least at number 5, because Drax is my favorite character in Guardians of the Galaxy. The second honorable mention on my list is the Target exclusive 10-inch Groot. Now, this molding is exactly the same thing as the common Groot, but of course it's raised in a 10-inch form, and I do like this because it definitely makes sense for Groot to be a 10-inch form. He is much larger than the rest of the Guardians of the Galaxy. I don't know if maybe the 10-inch and the 4-inch ratio would be accurate. I think maybe 10-inch might be a little bit too big, and with bigger size figures, obviously you do see much better attention to detail as terms to pops compared to what you would normally get in a 4-inch figure, especially with the detail as terms to the legs and the chest, where you do see kind of the tree branches like closing in, and you do see that. I think will be pulled off much better in that 10-inch form than it would with the 4-inch version. And the last honorable mention on this list is the Walmart exclusive 6-pack involving Star-Lord, Rocket, Groot, Nebula, Mantis, and Drax. Now, this may come as a surprise considering that basically this is just a 6-pack with all of the commons but slapped with a Walmart exclusive. That is true, but not entirely at the same time because of the Groot on here. It's a completely different Groot where it is the different arms and he's holding the different blasters as seen in the trailer, where obviously he is shooting in all different directions because of course with Groot he has the ability to not want to really turn around and be like pop, 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 when he can just stand still and be like boom, and then he has the different arms all the way around because after all he is a tree. So I do like that it's a bit of a money grab because the only way you can get that version of Groot, or at least as of the recording of this video, is through this 6-pack. While yes, the rest of the pops in this 6-pack with the Star-Lord, the Rocket, the Nebula, the Mantis, and the Drax are exactly the same mold as the regular common pops in this set. And speaking of Rocket Raccoon, like I mentioned earlier, somebody give this damn man an iced tea. He looks very dehydrated. And coming in at number 1, my favorite Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 Funko Pop is Kraglin. Now this one might come off as a surprise considering that I don't really think a lot of people would consider Kraglin as, let's say, maybe their favorite character, but I was very impressed of how Kraglin looks here in Funko Pop form for this movie. Already he has some cool details as terms to his outfit. He's wearing that yellow shirt, he's got the bright red pants, and he's got the brown boots with the different gadgets all the way around him, like the straps and everything being brown. He has the arrow in his one hand, but I do like the detail involved with the head molds, where obviously he has the facial layer, he has the scarring across the one eye, and then you have that cool detail of the like mohawk that he wears, which I believe is the contraption that controls the arrow, and the detail of it actually going into his head, so you do see an indent. So I really do enjoy that. So this pop really surprised me. I wasn't sure whether I was actually going to do Cosmo or I was going to do Kraglin, but because of the detail involved for even such a simplistic human character, made me decide that this should be the number 1 pop on my list for the best Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 Funko Pop set. Anyways, guys, that is going to be the end of today's video. If you enjoyed today's video on my top 5 list of Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 Funko Pops, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Let me know your favorite pop in the Guardians Volume 3 set, and I hope to see you guys in the next video. 1, 2, 3, I'm out of here.